The Skill Advantage. Master 14 High-Value Skills to Become More Valuable, Confident, and Successful. Published by Profound Audiobook. Introduction. Every skill you master becomes a key that unlocks opportunities once hidden from view. Long after trends fade, industries change, and technology evolves, valuable skills continue opening doors that talent alone never could. They shape the way you think, solve problems, communicate, lead, and create value. More importantly, they determine the person you become along the way. Success is rarely built on luck or perfect timing. It is built by people who continually invest in themselves. They understand that knowledge is useful, but applied skill is transformational. A diploma may earn an interview, a title may create an opportunity, but your ability to learn, adapt, communicate, and solve meaningful problems is what keeps you growing throughout your life. The more value you create, the more valuable you become. In this audiobook, we will explore 14 timeless high-value skills that can transform every area of your life. You will discover how to strengthen your discipline, sharpen your thinking, communicate with confidence, solve problems creatively, build trust, adapt to change, negotiate effectively, develop financial intelligence, and continue increasing your value year after year. These are not temporary techniques or passing trends. They are practical abilities that remain valuable regardless of your profession, age, or stage of life. Think of this journey as an investment in the one asset that can never be taken away from you, your ability to grow. Every chapter builds upon the one before it, creating a complete system for becoming more capable, more confident, and more valuable. By the end of this audiobook, you will realize that extraordinary success is not reserved for extraordinary people. It belongs to ordinary people who commit themselves to mastering extraordinary skills, one lesson, one habit, and one day at a time. Chapter 1. Develop unshakable self-discipline. Every meaningful achievement begins with one skill that quietly supports all the others: self-discipline. Without it, talent is wasted, knowledge remains unused, and goals become little more than good intentions. With it, ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things. Self-discipline is not about living a rigid or joyless life. It is about making choices today that your future self will be grateful for tomorrow. It is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when comfort suggests otherwise. Many people wait for motivation before taking action. They believe they will become productive once they feel inspired, confident, or energized. The problem is that motivation is unpredictable. Some days it arrives with enthusiasm, other days it disappears without explanation. If your progress depends on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. Self-discipline changes that equation. It teaches you to act according to your commitments instead of your emotions. You no longer ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" You ask, "Is this the right thing to do?" That simple shift separates consistent performers from those who constantly start over. Think about the strongest buildings you have ever seen. They remain standing through storms not because they are lucky, but because they were built on a solid foundation. Self-discipline plays the same role in your life. It supports your ambitions when enthusiasm fades. It keeps you moving when progress feels slow. It reminds you that success is rarely the result of one great effort. More often, it is the result of many small actions repeated with consistency. Consider Spencer Hale, a railroad engineer who loved his work but struggled with his personal habits. He often stayed up too late, postponed important responsibilities, and relied on last-minute effort to meet deadlines. Although he was capable, his inconsistency prevented him from earning greater responsibility. One day, after missing an opportunity for promotion, Spencer realized the problem wasn't his ability. It was his lack of discipline outside the moments that truly mattered. Instead of trying to change everything overnight, he focused on a few simple routines. He woke up at the same time each morning, planned his day before leaving home, and completed his most important task before allowing distractions to take over. The changes seemed small, but they gradually transformed the way he worked. Months later, his supervisors noticed that he had become dependable under pressure, and the opportunities he had been hoping for finally began to appear. His career changed because his habits changed first. The same principle applies to your own life. You do not build self-discipline by making one heroic decision. You build it by honoring small commitments every day. When you decide to exercise, follow through. When you promise yourself you will read for 20 minutes, keep that promise. When you begin an important task, resist the urge to quit simply because it becomes difficult. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you strengthen the belief that you are someone who can be trusted. That trust becomes confidence, and confidence becomes momentum. One mistake people often make is trying to become disciplined in every area at once. They create impossible routines, unrealistic schedules, and overwhelming expectations. Within a few days, exhaustion replaces enthusiasm, and they abandon the entire plan. Lasting discipline grows differently. It begins with one consistent action, then another and another. Small victories create larger victories because success has a way of building upon itself. It is also important to understand that discipline is a form of freedom. At first, this may sound strange. Many people think discipline limits their choices. In reality, the opposite is true. Discipline gives you the freedom to achieve your goals instead of becoming controlled by distractions. It gives you the freedom to build financial security instead of living with constant stress. It gives you the freedom to enjoy good health because you consistently care for your body. Every act of discipline today creates greater freedom tomorrow. As you continue this journey, remember that every valuable skill you are about to learn depends on this one. You cannot become an exceptional communicator without the discipline to practice. You cannot develop financial intelligence without the discipline to manage your money wisely. You cannot become a trusted leader without the discipline to act with integrity day after day. Self-discipline is the quiet force that turns knowledge into action and potential into achievement. From this day forward, stop waiting for perfect motivation. Stop expecting the right mood to appear before you begin. Choose one commitment that truly matters and honor it every day, especially when it feels inconvenient. Over time, those ordinary decisions will shape an extraordinary life. Because in the end, success does not belong to the most talented or the most fortunate. It belongs to the people who develop the discipline to keep moving forward long after everyone else has stopped. Chapter 2. Learn anything faster. Every generation has its greatest advantage. In the past, it may have been physical strength, access to land, or owning valuable resources. Today, one of the greatest advantages you can possess is the ability to learn quickly. The world is changing faster than ever before. New technologies emerge, industries evolve, and the skills that are valuable today may look very different 10 years from now. In this environment, the person who learns the fastest often becomes the person who grows the fastest. Learning is no longer something that ends when school is over. It is a lifelong skill. The people who continue improving their knowledge and abilities long after formal education ends are the ones who remain valuable wherever they go. They don't panic when change arrives because they have developed confidence in their ability to adapt. They know that even if one opportunity disappears, they have the ability to learn the skills needed for the next one. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they are either good learners or bad learners. That belief becomes a limitation. The truth is that learning itself is a skill, and like any skill, it can be improved with practice. The more you understand how to learn effectively, the easier it becomes to master new ideas, develop new abilities, and solve unfamiliar problems. Curiosity is the fuel that powers learning. Think back to childhood. You probably asked endless questions without worrying whether they sounded intelligent. Every answer led to another question. Somewhere along the way, many people stop asking. They begin pretending they already know enough because they fear looking inexperienced. Extraordinary performers do the opposite. They remain curious throughout their lives. They understand that asking thoughtful questions is a sign of strength, not weakness. Another powerful habit is learning with a purpose. Many people consume endless information without ever applying it. They watch videos, read articles, and collect ideas, yet very little changes in their lives. Knowledge becomes valuable only when it changes behavior. Before you begin learning something new, ask yourself one simple question: how will I use this? That question immediately shifts your mind from collecting information to searching for practical value. Reading is one of the fastest ways to borrow decades of experience from someone else. A well-written book can save you years of trial and error by allowing you to learn from another person's successes and failures. But reading alone is not enough. Pause regularly. Highlight meaningful ideas. Write notes in your own words. More importantly, choose one lesson and apply it immediately. A single idea practiced consistently is worth far more than 100 ideas forgotten by tomorrow. Learning also becomes faster when you stop fearing mistakes. Every beginner struggles. Every expert was once inexperienced. Yet many people avoid learning because they dislike feeling uncomfortable. They expect themselves to perform well immediately and become discouraged when they don't. Extraordinary performers understand that awkwardness is not evidence of failure. It is evidence that growth is taking place. The sooner you become comfortable being a beginner, the faster you will develop new skills. It also helps to simplify what you are learning. If you cannot explain an idea in clear, everyday language, chances are you do not fully understand it yet. Try imagining that you must explain the concept to a friend with no background in the subject. Doing so forces your mind to organize information more clearly and reveals any gaps in your understanding. Simplicity is often a sign of mastery. Another secret to faster learning is consistency. You don't need to spend 10 hours studying in one day if you never touch the subject again for weeks. Small daily sessions often produce better results than occasional bursts of intense effort. 20 focused minutes every day can accomplish more over a year than long, inconsistent sessions that leave you exhausted. Learning grows stronger through repetition, especially when those repetitions are spread over time. Don't overlook the value of learning from people around you. Every person you meet knows something you don't. The experienced mechanic understands practical problem solving. The teacher understands patience. The entrepreneur understands calculated risk. The customer service representative understands human behavior. When you approach people with genuine curiosity instead of judgment, every conversation becomes an opportunity to expand your understanding. Wisdom often arrives through ordinary interactions if you are paying attention. One of the most valuable habits you can develop is reviewing what you learn. At the end of each week, ask yourself, what new idea did I discover? What skill improved? What lesson changed the way I think? Reflection transforms information into lasting knowledge. Without reflection, valuable lessons quickly fade. With reflection, they become part of the way you see the world. Remember that learning is not a race against other people. It is an investment in your future. Every new skill you develop increases your confidence because it reminds you that you are capable of growth. Every new idea expands your perspective. Every lesson adds another tool to your ability to solve problems and create value. As you continue your journey through this audiobook, make a promise to yourself: never allow curiosity to disappear. Stay teachable even when you become successful. Ask questions, seek new perspectives, and remain willing to challenge your own assumptions. The world will continue changing, but if you master the ability to learn anything faster, you will never be left behind. Instead, you will become the kind of person who sees change not as a threat, but as another opportunity to grow. Chapter 3. Think clearly under pressure. Pressure has a remarkable way of revealing how we think. When everything is going well, almost anyone can make reasonable decisions. But when time is limited, emotions are high, and the stakes feel important, the quality of your thinking becomes one of your greatest advantages. Some people panic, react impulsively, and allow fear to take control. Others slow down, assess the situation, and respond with clarity. The difference is rarely intelligence alone. It is the skill of thinking clearly when pressure tries to cloud your judgment. Every day, life presents situations that test your ability to think. A disagreement at work, an unexpected financial expense, a difficult conversation, or a sudden change in plans can quickly trigger emotional reactions. If you allow those emotions to make every decision for you, your choices become unpredictable. Clear thinking begins by recognizing that emotions are valuable signals, but they are not always reliable guides. They deserve to be acknowledged, but they should not be given complete control. Imagine driving through heavy fog. You don't speed up simply because visibility is poor. You naturally slow down, pay closer attention, and make more deliberate decisions. Pressure should be handled the same way. When circumstances become uncertain, the best response is often to pause instead of rushing. A brief moment of calm thinking can prevent mistakes that take weeks or even years to correct. One of the most valuable habits you can develop is separating facts from assumptions. Under pressure, the mind often fills gaps in information with fear, doubt, or worst-case scenarios. A delayed email suddenly feels like rejection. One unexpected setback feels like permanent failure. A single criticism begins to sound like everyone has lost confidence in you. Yet many of these conclusions are based on assumptions rather than evidence. Ask yourself a simple question. What do I actually know to be true? That question brings your attention back to reality instead of imagination. Another important habit is learning to ask better questions. The quality of your answers depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Instead of saying, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this situation?" Instead of asking, "What if everything goes wrong?" ask, "What is the next best step I can take?" Better questions lead to better thinking, and better thinking leads to better decisions. Clear thinkers also resist the temptation to react immediately. In today's world, everything seems to demand an instant response. Messages arrive every minute, news changes by the hour, opinions spread within seconds. Yet not every situation requires immediate action. Sometimes your greatest strength is giving yourself enough time to understand the problem before trying to solve it. A thoughtful response almost always creates better outcomes than an emotional reaction. It is equally important to challenge your own thinking. One reason people make poor decisions is because they only search for information that confirms what they already believe. They ignore different perspectives because those perspectives feel uncomfortable. Extraordinary performers do the opposite. They actively look for evidence that challenges their opinions. They ask, "What might I be missing?" This habit protects them from becoming overconfident and helps them make wiser decisions. Clear thinking also requires controlling the noise around you. Constant distractions, endless opinions, and overwhelming information make it difficult to focus on what truly matters. You do not have to react to every headline, every rumor, or every criticism. Learn to filter information carefully. Give your attention to facts that help you make better decisions and let go of information that only creates unnecessary anxiety. A calm mind sees opportunities that a distracted mind completely misses. Another valuable practice is reflecting after difficult situations. When the pressure has passed, ask yourself what happened, what you handled well, and what you would do differently next time. This habit turns every challenge into a learning experience. Over time, your ability to remain calm under pressure improves because you are constantly refining the way you think. Experience becomes your teacher instead of your burden. Remember that confidence is not the absence of pressure. Confidence is trusting your ability to think clearly despite pressure. You cannot control every situation life places in front of you, but you can control how you respond to it. Every calm decision strengthens your confidence. Every thoughtful response makes the next challenge easier to handle. Little by little, you become someone who others naturally trust during difficult moments because your judgment remains steady when emotions begin to rise. As you continue developing the skills in this audiobook, protect your ability to think clearly. Don't allow fear to rush your decisions or frustration to narrow your perspective. Slow down when necessary, gather the facts, ask better questions, consider different viewpoints. Then move forward with confidence, knowing your decisions are guided by reason rather than reaction. The people who create extraordinary results are not those who never face pressure. They are the ones who refuse to let pressure think for them. They remain calm when others panic, thoughtful when others react, and focused when others lose direction. Master this skill, and you will discover that clear thinking is more than a valuable ability. It is a lifelong advantage that influences every decision, every opportunity, and every success that follows. Chapter 4. Solve problems before others see them. Every successful person is paid, rewarded, or respected for one simple reason: they solve problems. The greater the problem they solve, the greater the value they create. Yet the people who stand out the most don't just solve problems after they appear. They develop the ability to notice them before everyone else does. They see small warning signs that others overlook. They ask questions that others never think to ask. They understand that preventing a problem is often far more valuable than fixing one. Many people spend their lives reacting. They wait until something breaks before repairing it. They wait until their finances become stressful before creating a budget. They wait until relationships begin falling apart before making time for the people they love. While reacting may solve today's difficulty, anticipation prevents tomorrow's. Extraordinary performers train themselves to think one step ahead. This way of thinking begins with observation. Every environment gives you clues about what might happen next. A small mistake repeated several times often becomes a much larger problem later. A customer asking the same question again and again may reveal a weakness in a business process. A team member who suddenly becomes unusually quiet may be struggling with something that has not yet been discussed. These signs are easy to miss if you're only focused on completing today's tasks. They become obvious when you pay close attention. One habit that strengthens this skill is asking what could go wrong. Not because you expect failure, but because you want to prepare wisely. This is not pessimism, it is responsibility. A pilot checks every instrument before takeoff, not because they believe something will fail, but because preparation protects everyone on board. The same mindset can improve every part of your life. Looking ahead allows you to reduce unnecessary risks before they become costly mistakes. Another powerful question is, what am I not seeing? We naturally focus on what is directly in front of us, but many opportunities are hidden just beyond our immediate attention. By slowing down and looking more carefully, you often discover better solutions than the obvious ones. Great problem solvers understand that the first answer is not always the best answer. They remain curious long enough to uncover deeper causes instead of treating only the visible symptoms. This approach also changes the way you see challenges. Instead of viewing problems as interruptions, you begin seeing them as opportunities to create value. Every difficulty someone faces is a chance for another person to offer a solution. Businesses grow because they solve problems. Leaders earn trust because they solve problems. Families become stronger because someone chooses to solve problems instead of ignoring them. The habit of solving problems is one of the fastest ways to become indispensable. Consider Julia Mercer, a conservation scientist working on a large wetland restoration project. The project had been progressing smoothly, and everyone involved believed it was on schedule. During one of her routine field inspections, Julia noticed that several small plant species near the edge of the restoration area were beginning to disappear. The change seemed minor, and many people dismissed it as a seasonal variation. Julia wasn't convinced. She continued investigating and discovered that a subtle change in water flow was slowly affecting the entire ecosystem. Had the issue gone unnoticed for a few more months, years of restoration work could have been severely damaged. Because she recognized the warning signs early, the team adjusted the water management system before the problem spread. The project stayed on track, and what looked like a small observation became the reason for its long-term success. You don't need to work on environmental projects to think this way. Every day presents opportunities to notice what others ignore. Pay attention to patterns. Listen carefully when the same complaint appears more than once. Look for small habits that could become larger obstacles. Anticipation is often nothing more than careful observation combined with thoughtful action. It is also important to avoid blaming others whenever problems arise. Blame rarely produces solutions. It simply shifts responsibility. Extraordinary performers ask a different question: what can I do to improve this situation? That mindset creates progress because it focuses on action instead of excuses. Even when you are not responsible for creating a problem, you can often become the person who helps solve it. That alone makes you more valuable. As you practice this skill, you will notice another benefit. Your confidence begins to grow, not because life becomes easier, but because you trust your ability to handle challenges before they become overwhelming. Instead of fearing problems, you become someone who is prepared for them. That quiet confidence influences the way people see you. They begin turning to you for guidance because they know you bring solutions instead of complaints. As you continue through this audiobook, remember that opportunities rarely arrive wearing a name tag. They often appear disguised as problems waiting to be solved, while others are busy reacting to today's crisis. Train yourself to notice tomorrow's challenge before it arrives. Observe carefully, ask thoughtful questions, look beneath the surface, then take action while everyone else is still wondering what happened. The people who create extraordinary value are not simply the best workers or the smartest thinkers. They are the people who consistently solve the problems others never saw coming. Master that ability, and you will become someone whose value continues to grow in every career, every relationship, and every stage of life. Chapter 5. Communicate with clarity and confidence. Every opportunity in life passes through communication. A brilliant idea has little value if you cannot explain it. Strong character often goes unnoticed if you never learn how to express it. Even the greatest skills become more powerful when others understand your intentions, trust your words, and believe in your message. Communication is not simply about talking, it is about creating understanding. The clearer you communicate, the more influence you have in every area of your life. Many people believe confidence comes from speaking loudly or always having the perfect answer. True confidence is much quieter than that. It comes from knowing your message, respecting your audience, and expressing your thoughts with honesty and simplicity. Some of the most influential people in the world do not speak the most. They simply make every word count. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to sound impressive instead of trying to be understood. They use complicated words, lengthy explanations, or unnecessary details because they believe complexity creates credibility. In reality, clarity creates credibility. If someone can easily understand what you mean, they are far more likely to trust you. The ability to explain difficult ideas in simple language is a sign that you truly understand them yourself. Listening is another skill that is often overlooked. Many conversations fail because people are waiting for their turn to speak instead of trying to understand the other person. While someone else is talking, they are already preparing their reply. As a result, they miss important details, misunderstand emotions, and respond to questions that were never actually asked. Extraordinary communicators listen with genuine curiosity. They pay attention not only to the words being spoken, but also to the feelings and intentions behind those words. Imagine having a conversation where the other person never interrupts you, asks thoughtful questions, and makes you feel that your ideas genuinely matter. Chances are you would leave that conversation feeling respected. The interesting part is that people often remember how you made them feel more than the exact words you said. When people feel heard, they naturally become more open to hearing you in return. Another valuable habit is learning to pause before responding. Not every question requires an immediate answer. Not every disagreement demands a quick reaction. A brief pause gives your mind time to organize your thoughts and choose your words carefully. It prevents emotional responses that often create unnecessary conflict. Calm communication almost always produces better results than rushed communication. Asking good questions is just as important as giving good answers. Questions invite people to think instead of simply reacting. They uncover information that assumptions often hide. Instead of immediately offering advice, ask, "What do you think is causing this problem?" Instead of making conclusions, ask, "Can you help me understand your perspective?" These simple questions build stronger relationships because they show respect while encouraging meaningful conversation. Body language also plays a powerful role in communication. Long before you speak, people notice your posture, eye contact, facial expressions, and tone of voice. You can say encouraging words while your body communicates impatience. You can offer confidence while your posture suggests uncertainty. When your words and your actions match, your message becomes far more believable. Authentic communication happens when everything about you tells the same story. It is equally important to adapt your communication to the person in front of you. Not everyone learns the same way or responds to the same approach. Some people appreciate detailed explanations. Others prefer direct and simple conversations. Some need encouragement before feedback, while others value straightforward honesty. Effective communication is not about speaking the way you prefer. It is about speaking in a way the other person can clearly receive and understand. One of the greatest communication skills you can develop is remaining respectful during disagreement. Differences of opinion are inevitable. What separates exceptional communicators is their ability to disagree without becoming disrespectful. They focus on solving the problem instead of attacking the person. They remain curious instead of becoming defensive. They understand that changing someone's mind begins with earning their trust, not winning an argument. Remember that every conversation leaves a lasting impression. The words you choose today may encourage someone to pursue a dream, repair a relationship, solve a difficult problem, or regain confidence after a setback. Never underestimate the influence of thoughtful communication. Small conversations often create life-changing moments. As you continue building your skill advantage, make communication one of your highest priorities. Practice speaking clearly. Listen more than you interrupt. Ask better questions. Think before you respond. Strive to understand before asking to be understood. These habits will not only improve your relationships, but also strengthen every other skill you develop, because communication is the bridge through which knowledge, leadership, trust, and opportunity all travel. People may first notice your abilities, but they will remember the way you communicated. They will remember whether you made complicated things simple, whether you listened with respect, and whether your words inspired confidence instead of confusion. Master this skill, and you will discover that clear and confident communication does far more than help you express ideas. It helps you build trust, create opportunities, and become someone others naturally want to follow. Chapter 6. Direct your attention with precision. Every day your attention is being pulled in 100 different directions. Notifications appear without warning. Emails demand immediate replies. Conversations interrupt your thoughts. Endless streams of information compete for a place in your mind. At first, these distractions may seem harmless, a few minutes here, a quick glance there. But over time, they quietly steal something far more valuable than time. They steal your ability to focus deeply on what truly matters. Attention is one of the most valuable skills you can develop because it determines the quality of everything you do. A person with average talent but exceptional focus will often outperform someone with extraordinary talent but scattered attention. The difference is simple. One person directs their mental energy toward meaningful work. The other constantly divides it among things that produce very little value. Imagine sunlight spreading across an entire field. It creates warmth, but very little power. Now imagine that same sunlight passing through a magnifying glass. Suddenly, the light becomes concentrated enough to ignite a fire. Your attention works exactly the same way. When your thoughts are scattered across dozens of small distractions, your progress slows. When your attention is concentrated on one important task, your performance reaches an entirely different level. One of the biggest myths about productivity is the belief that multitasking makes you more efficient. In reality, your brain is not truly performing multiple demanding tasks at the same time. It is switching rapidly between them. Every switch requires mental energy. Every interruption forces your mind to rebuild concentration. By the end of the day, you may feel busy, but much of your energy has been spent simply changing directions instead of making meaningful progress. Extraordinary performers protect their attention because they understand that focus is not automatic. It must be created intentionally. They decide in advance what deserves their best mental energy. They don't begin the day reacting to every message, notification, or request that appears. Instead, they identify their most important work and give it their full attention before allowing less important tasks to compete for their time. Consider Derek Lawson, a cybersecurity analyst responsible for protecting sensitive digital systems from increasingly sophisticated threats. Early in his career, Derek believed he was productive because he responded immediately to every email, message, and request. Yet, despite working long hours, he often ended the day feeling that his most important projects had barely moved forward. After speaking with a mentor, he decided to change his approach. Instead of constantly reacting, he blocked uninterrupted periods of time for his highest priority work. During those hours, notifications were silenced, unnecessary browser tabs were closed, and his phone remained out of reach. At first, the adjustment felt uncomfortable, but within a few weeks, the quality of his work improved dramatically. He found problems faster, made fewer mistakes, and completed complex projects in less time. The difference wasn't that he had become more intelligent. He had simply learned to direct his attention with precision. You can apply the same principle to your own life. Before beginning your day, ask yourself one question. What deserves my best attention today? Not what feels urgent, not what is easiest. What will create the greatest long-term value if it receives your complete focus? Once you have your answer, protect that time as carefully as you would protect an important appointment. Another powerful habit is learning to eliminate unnecessary decisions. Every small decision consumes mental energy. What should I work on first? Should I check my messages now? Maybe I'll do this instead. By planning your priorities in advance, you reduce these constant interruptions. Your mind remains focused on execution instead of repeatedly deciding what to do next. Attention also extends beyond work. Think about your conversations. When someone is speaking to you, are you fully present, or are you already thinking about something else? Genuine attention strengthens relationships because it communicates respect. People quickly recognize when they have your complete focus, and they remember how that made them feel. In many ways, giving someone your attention is one of the most generous gifts you can offer. It is equally important to pay attention to what you allow into your mind. Every article you read, every video you watch, and every conversation you engage in shapes your thinking. Ask yourself whether the information you consume is helping you grow or simply keeping you occupied. Not everything that captures your attention deserves it. Learn to become selective. Your future is influenced by what repeatedly occupies your mind. Remember that extraordinary results rarely come from extraordinary effort alone. They come from extraordinary focus applied consistently over time. You don't have to work every minute of the day. You simply need to make the minutes that matter count. A single hour of complete concentration often accomplishes more than 3 distracted hours filled with interruptions. As you continue building your skill advantage, guard your attention as one of your greatest assets. Choose your priorities carefully. Eliminate unnecessary distractions. Give your full presence to the task, the conversation, or the opportunity directly in front of you. The world will always compete for your attention, but you alone decide where it ultimately belongs. Master this skill, and you will discover that success is not only about working harder. It is about directing your attention so precisely that your best energy is always invested where it creates the greatest value. When you learn to focus with intention, your results begin to reflect the quality of your attention. And that is a competitive advantage very few people ever fully develop. Chapter 7. Finish what others abandon. Starting is exciting. A new idea fills you with energy. A new project sparks your imagination. A new goal makes the future seem full of possibility. But after the excitement fades, something else appears. The work becomes repetitive. Progress slows. Challenges begin to test your patience. This is the moment when many people quietly give up. They don't always quit completely. Sometimes they simply become distracted by another exciting idea, leaving unfinished goals behind them. Extraordinary performers, however, develop a skill that sets them apart. They finish what they start. Completion is one of the rarest and most valuable habits you can develop. Every unfinished project quietly drains your energy. Every broken commitment occupies a small corner of your mind. Over time, these unfinished tasks create mental clutter. They remind you of promises you made but never fulfilled. Eventually, this pattern begins affecting your confidence because your mind starts expecting you not to follow through. Think about someone you deeply respect. Chances are one quality stands out. When they make a commitment, they keep it. If they promise to complete something, they do. You don't have to wonder whether they will follow through because their actions have already answered that question. Reliability creates trust, and trust creates opportunities. People naturally want to work with those they can depend on. One reason people fail to finish is that they become too focused on the size of the goal. A mountain looks overwhelming when you stare only at the summit. But climbers don't reach the top in one giant leap. They take one careful step after another. The same principle applies to every meaningful achievement. Break large goals into smaller milestones. Instead of worrying about everything that remains to be done, focus on completing the next important step. Momentum grows one completed action at a time. Another obstacle is perfectionism. Many people abandon projects because they fear their work is not good enough. They keep making endless adjustments, waiting for the perfect moment to declare something finished. Ironically, perfectionism often becomes another form of procrastination. Extraordinary performers understand that excellence does not require perfection. They complete their work, learn from the experience, and improve the next time. Progress always teaches more than endless hesitation. It also helps to remember why you started. Every worthwhile goal begins with a purpose. During difficult moments, reconnect with that purpose. If you are learning a new skill, remind yourself of the opportunities it will create. If you are building a business, remember the freedom you hope to achieve. If you are improving your health, picture the energy and confidence you want to enjoy. Purpose gives persistence its strength. Consistency matters far more than intensity. Many people work with incredible energy for a few days, only to disappear when motivation fades. Extraordinary performers choose a different approach. They continue showing up even on ordinary days. They understand that small efforts repeated consistently create greater results than occasional bursts of enthusiasm. The secret is not doing everything at once. The secret is refusing to stop. Another powerful habit is celebrating progress instead of waiting only for the final result. Every completed chapter, every finished task, every successful conversation, and every small victory deserves recognition. These moments remind you that progress is happening. They strengthen your motivation because they provide evidence that your efforts are moving you forward. Success grows more naturally when you learn to appreciate each meaningful step. It is equally important to resist the temptation to chase every new opportunity. New ideas will always appear. Some of them may even be excellent, but constantly changing direction prevents you from experiencing the rewards of completion. Before beginning something new, ask yourself an honest question. Have I given my current commitment my very best effort? Sometimes the greatest opportunity is not starting something different, but finishing what you already began. Finishing also changes the way you see yourself. Every completed goal becomes proof that you are capable of overcoming resistance. Every finished project strengthens your identity as someone who follows through. That confidence carries into every new challenge you face. You no longer approach opportunities wondering if you can finish. You begin expecting yourself to do so because your past actions have built that belief. As you continue developing your skill advantage, remember that the world is full of people with great ideas. What it needs are more people who bring those ideas to completion. Dreams become reality only when someone stays committed long enough to finish the work. Talent may help you begin. Inspiration may give you momentum. But completion is what turns effort into results. Make it your habit to be the person who finishes. Finish the difficult conversation instead of avoiding it. Finish the book instead of leaving it on the shelf. Finish the project instead of constantly planning the next one. Finish the promises you make to yourself because every completed commitment strengthens your character. The extraordinary performer is not remembered for the number of goals they started. They are remembered for the promises they fulfilled, the work they completed, and the value they consistently delivered. Develop the skill of finishing what others abandon, and you will gain something far more valuable than success itself. You will earn a reputation for reliability, perseverance, and excellence that follows you wherever you go. Chapter 8. Adapt before you have to. Change has a simple rule. It arrives whether you are ready or not. New technologies appear, industries evolve, unexpected opportunities emerge, while familiar routines slowly lose their value. Some people see these changes as threats because they are attached to what has always worked. Others see them as invitations to grow. The difference is not luck or intelligence. It is adaptability, the ability to adjust, learn, and move forward before circumstances force you to. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that success today guarantees success tomorrow. It doesn't. The habits, skills, and knowledge that helped you reach one level may not be enough to take you to the next. Life rewards those who continue evolving. When you stop growing, you don't remain in the same place. The world continues moving, and eventually you find yourself falling behind without realizing it. Adaptability begins with a simple mindset. Remain teachable. No matter how experienced you become, there is always something new to learn. Some people become defensive whenever change is introduced because they feel it threatens their identity. They say, "This is how we've always done it." But history repeatedly shows that progress belongs to those who are willing to question familiar methods and explore better ones. Think about nature for a moment. During a storm, the tallest and strongest tree is not always the one that survives. Often, it is the tree that bends with the wind without breaking. Its flexibility becomes its strength. Human growth works in much the same way. Being adaptable doesn't mean abandoning your values. It means remaining flexible in your methods while staying firm in your principles. Another important part of adaptability is becoming comfortable with being a beginner again. Many people avoid learning new skills because they dislike feeling inexperienced. They were once experts in one area, and starting over feels uncomfortable. Extraordinary performers accept this discomfort as part of growth. They understand that every expert was once a beginner who was willing to look inexperienced while learning something valuable. Consider Natalie Cross, an aviation mechanic who had spent years maintaining traditional aircraft systems. She had earned the respect of her colleagues through hard work and technical expertise. As newer aircraft began incorporating advanced digital systems and automated diagnostics, many experienced mechanics resisted the changes. They believed their existing knowledge would always be enough. Natalie chose a different path. Instead of waiting until the new technology became unavoidable, she enrolled in additional training, studied after work, and practiced with unfamiliar equipment whenever she had the opportunity. At first, the learning process was slow and frustrating. She often felt like a beginner again. But within a few years, she became one of the few specialists fully qualified to work on the newest aircraft models. While others struggled to catch up, Natalie had already positioned herself for the future. Her willingness to adapt before she had to transform uncertainty into opportunity. The same principle applies to your own life. Don't wait until your job changes before developing new skills. Don't wait until your health declines before improving your habits. Don't wait until relationships become strained before strengthening your communication. The best time to prepare for change is before change becomes unavoidable. Preparation gives you choices. Waiting often removes them. Adaptability also requires letting go of the belief that every change must be perfect before you embrace it. New methods often feel slower at first because your mind is still learning. That temporary discomfort is not a sign that you are moving in the wrong direction. It is evidence that your abilities are expanding. Growth almost always feels unfamiliar before it feels natural. Another habit that strengthens adaptability is regularly asking yourself, if I were starting today, would I still do it this way? This question challenges routines that have become automatic. Sometimes you will discover that your current approach remains the best one. Other times, you will realize you have continued doing something simply because it is familiar. That awareness creates room for improvement. Adaptability is also closely connected to humility. It takes humility to admit that a better way may exist. It takes humility to learn from people younger than you, less experienced than you, or working in completely different fields. Some of life's greatest lessons come from unexpected places, but only if you remain open enough to receive them. As you continue building your skill advantage, remember that change is not your enemy. Stagnation is. The world will continue evolving with or without your permission. Your greatest advantage is developing the confidence that you can learn, adjust, and thrive no matter what changes come your way. That confidence removes fear because it shifts your trust away from circumstances and places it in your own ability to grow. The people who remain valuable throughout their lives are not necessarily the most talented. They are the ones who continue learning long after others stop, who embrace change before it becomes necessary, and who see every new challenge as another opportunity to become stronger. Develop this skill, and you will never have to fear the future. Instead, you will meet it with curiosity, preparation, and the quiet confidence that whatever comes next, you are ready to grow with it. Chapter 9. Negotiate with confidence. Negotiation is happening all around you, even when you don't realize it. It isn't limited to business meetings, contracts, or salary discussions. Every time you ask for support, discuss responsibilities with a co-worker, settle a disagreement with a family member, or make an important purchase, you are negotiating. The quality of these conversations often determines the quality of your opportunities. Learning to negotiate with confidence is not about becoming more persuasive than everyone else. It is about creating outcomes where everyone walks away feeling respected and valued. Many people avoid negotiation because they fear rejection. They worry that asking for more will make them appear demanding or ungrateful. As a result, they accept the first offer, remain silent when they have something valuable to contribute, or settle for less than they deserve. Over time, this habit quietly limits both personal and professional growth. Extraordinary performers understand that respectful negotiation is not selfish. It is simply the skill of communicating value clearly and confidently. Confidence in negotiation begins long before the conversation itself. It starts with preparation. The more you understand the situation, the calmer you become. If you are discussing a promotion, know the value you have created. If you are making an important purchase, understand the market and your alternatives. If you are solving a conflict, take time to understand the other person's perspective before presenting your own. Preparation replaces uncertainty with clarity, and clarity naturally creates confidence. One of the biggest mistakes people make is entering a negotiation focused only on what they want. They think success means winning while someone else loses. In reality, the strongest agreements are built when both sides feel respected. Instead of asking, "How can I get the most?" ask, "How can we create the best outcome together?" That shift changes the entire conversation. People become far more willing to cooperate when they feel you are interested in solving a shared problem rather than defeating them. Listening is one of the most underrated negotiation skills. Many people believe the strongest negotiator is the one who talks the most. The opposite is often true. The more carefully you listen, the more information you gather. You begin understanding what truly matters to the other person. Sometimes the issue they mention first is not their real concern. By asking thoughtful questions and listening patiently, you uncover opportunities that would otherwise remain hidden. Timing also matters. Not every conversation should happen immediately. When emotions are high, people often defend positions instead of exploring solutions. If possible, allow difficult conversations to begin from a place of calm rather than frustration. A respectful discussion held at the right time is usually far more productive than a rushed conversation driven by emotion. Another important habit is learning to remain comfortable with silence. Many people become nervous when a conversation grows quiet. They rush to fill the silence by lowering their expectations, making unnecessary compromises, or speaking too quickly. Experienced negotiators understand that silence creates space for thinking. It gives both sides time to reflect instead of reacting impulsively. Sometimes your greatest advantage is simply having the patience to wait. It is equally important to know your own priorities before entering any negotiation. Ask yourself, what outcome matters most? What am I willing to compromise? What is non-negotiable? Without this clarity, you may agree to something that looks attractive in the moment, but creates problems later. Confidence grows when your decisions are guided by principles rather than pressure. Respect should remain at the center of every negotiation. Even when you disagree, treat the other person with dignity. Avoid personal attacks, sarcasm, or the need to prove that you are right. Focus on solving the issue rather than winning an argument. People may forget the details of the conversation, but they will remember how you treated them. A respectful negotiator often earns future opportunities even when the current discussion does not end exactly as planned. Another valuable lesson is learning not to fear hearing the word no. Many people interpret rejection as failure. In reality, no is often the beginning of a better conversation. It invites you to ask new questions, explore different solutions, and understand concerns more deeply. Every successful negotiator has heard no many times. What separates them is that they remain calm, curious, and committed to finding common ground instead of giving up too quickly. As you continue developing your skill advantage, remember that negotiation is not about manipulating people, it is about building understanding. It is the ability to express your value honestly, appreciate the needs of others, and search for solutions that benefit everyone involved. That approach strengthens relationships instead of damaging them, making every future conversation easier. The people who create extraordinary opportunities are rarely the loudest voices in the room. They are the people who prepare carefully, listen deeply, communicate respectfully, and negotiate with quiet confidence. Master this skill, and you will discover that many of life's greatest opportunities are not simply found, they are created through conversations handled with wisdom, patience, and genuine respect. Chapter 10. Earn trust before you need it. Trust is one of the few things in life that becomes more valuable the longer you invest in it. It cannot be bought, demanded, or created overnight. It grows quietly through consistent actions, honest decisions, and promises kept over time. By the time you truly need someone's confidence, it is usually too late to start building it. Extraordinary performers understand this. They don't wait until an opportunity appears to become trustworthy. They earn trust every single day, long before anyone asks them to prove themselves. Think about the people you trust most. It is probably not because they impressed you with one remarkable achievement. You trust them because they have been consistent. They showed up when they said they would. They kept private conversations confidential. They admitted mistakes instead of hiding them. Their words and actions matched. Trust is rarely built through dramatic moments. It is built through hundreds of ordinary moments that quietly reveal a person's character. Many people focus on developing impressive skills while overlooking the importance of reliability. Yet reliability often determines who receives opportunities. When employers look for someone to lead an important project, they choose the person they believe will follow through. When customers recommend a business, they recommend the one they trust. When friends seek advice, they turn to someone whose judgment has proven dependable over time. Skill may attract attention, but trust sustains relationships. One simple way to build trust is to keep small promises. If you tell someone you will call them tomorrow, do it. If you promise to send information by the end of the day, send it. These commitments may seem minor, but they communicate something much larger. They tell people that your word has value. Every promise you keep becomes another brick in the foundation of your reputation. Honesty also plays a central role in earning trust. This doesn't mean speaking without kindness or sharing every thought that comes to mind. It means being truthful even when honesty feels uncomfortable. There will be moments when admitting a mistake is embarrassing or when accepting responsibility feels costly. Those moments often determine the strength of your character. Ironically, people usually lose trust, not because they made a mistake, but because they tried to hide it. Consider Owen Briggs, an industrial designer working for a company developing new consumer products. During an important project, Owen discovered a small design flaw that could delay production if corrected immediately. Ignoring the issue would have saved time and protected the deadline, and there was a good chance no one would notice until much later. Instead, he informed his team, explained the problem clearly, and recommended delaying production long enough to fix it properly. The decision was difficult and temporarily unpopular. However, months later, company leaders recognized that his honesty had prevented far greater financial losses and protected the company's reputation. When a leadership position became available, Owen was chosen, not simply because he was talented, but because people knew they could trust his judgment even under pressure. Trust also grows when you give people your full attention. In a world filled with constant distractions, listening carefully has become a rare expression of respect. When someone speaks, be present. Put away unnecessary distractions. Listen to understand, rather than simply waiting for your turn to respond. People naturally trust those who make them feel heard, because genuine attention communicates that they matter. Another important habit is consistency. It is easy to act with integrity when circumstances are convenient. The true test comes when no one is watching, or when doing the right thing requires personal sacrifice. Extraordinary performers remain consistent regardless of the situation. They don't change their values depending on who is in the room. Their principles remain steady whether they are speaking with a customer, a colleague, a close friend, or a stranger. Trust also requires patience. You cannot rush it. Sometimes you will do the right thing repeatedly without receiving immediate recognition. Keep doing it anyway. Character develops in private long before it is rewarded in public. Every honest conversation, every fulfilled commitment, and every responsible decision adds quietly to a reputation that will one day open doors you never expected. It is equally important to extend trust wisely to others. While not everyone will deserve your complete confidence immediately, approaching people with respect and goodwill often encourages them to respond in the same way. Healthy relationships grow through mutual trust, built one interaction at a time. As you continue building your skill advantage, ask yourself a simple question. If someone described me to another person today, would trust be one of the first qualities they mention? If not, begin strengthening it through your daily actions rather than your intentions. Trust is not created by saying the right words. It is created by repeatedly doing the right things. The most valuable opportunities in life often come through people who believe in you. They recommend you, support you, and open doors because they are confident you will honor their trust. Develop that reputation before you need it. Build it patiently, protect it carefully, and never trade it for short-term convenience. In the end, one of the greatest competitive advantages you can ever possess is becoming someone whose word is trusted, whose character is respected, and whose presence gives others confidence. Chapter 11. Create value wherever you go. One question has the power to transform your career, your relationships, and your future. How can I make this better? People who ask this question consistently become invaluable because they stop looking only at what they can receive and start focusing on what they can contribute. They understand that lasting success is built on one principle above all others: creating value for others. The more value you create, the more opportunities naturally find you. Many people enter a room wondering what they can gain. They ask themselves, what can this job do for me? What can this person give me? What can I get from this opportunity? While those questions are understandable, they keep your attention focused on yourself. Extraordinary performers ask different questions. How can I help? How can I improve this situation? What problem can I solve? That simple shift changes the way people see you because contribution always stands out. Creating value begins with paying attention. Every workplace, every family, and every community has small problems that people have accepted as normal. Perhaps a process is inefficient, maybe communication is unclear, someone might feel overlooked or unsupported. These opportunities are often invisible because most people become accustomed to them. But if you develop the habit of noticing what could be improved, you begin seeing possibilities everywhere. One of the greatest misconceptions about creating value is believing you need authority before making a difference. You don't. You don't need an impressive title to solve a problem, improve an experience, or encourage another person. Some of the most influential people in any organization are those who consistently make life easier for everyone around them, regardless of their position. Their influence grows because people trust those who are genuinely helpful. Another important principle is understanding the difference between activity and value. Being busy does not automatically make you valuable. You can spend an entire day completing tasks that have very little impact. Value comes from doing work that matters. Before beginning an important task, ask yourself, will this make a meaningful difference? If the answer is yes, give it your best effort. If not, reconsider whether your time could be invested more wisely. Creating value also requires initiative. Don't wait to be told every step you should take. Look for responsible ways to improve the situation before someone asks. Initiative communicates ownership. It tells people that you care about the outcome, not just the assignment. Employers notice it. Customers appreciate it. Friends respect it. Initiative transforms you from someone who completes instructions into someone who creates solutions. Generosity is another powerful form of value creation. Share useful knowledge without expecting immediate rewards. Introduce people who could benefit from knowing one another. Offer encouragement when someone is struggling. Celebrate another person's success instead of competing with it. These actions may seem small, but they create relationships built on trust rather than transaction. Ironically, the people who give the most value often receive the greatest opportunities in return because others naturally want to work with them. It is also important to remember that quality creates value. Whether you are writing an email, preparing a presentation, repairing a machine, or helping a customer, do your work with care. Ask yourself if what you are producing truly reflects your best effort. People remember quality because quality demonstrates respect. It says, "This mattered enough for me to do it well." Creating value requires continuous improvement as well. The world changes, expectations evolve, and yesterday's solutions may not solve tomorrow's problems. Continue learning. Continue asking questions. Continue refining your skills. Every improvement you make increases the value you can offer to others. Growth is not just for your own benefit, it expands your ability to contribute. Another habit worth developing is looking beyond immediate rewards. Sometimes the most valuable work you do will not be recognized right away. You may help someone who never has the chance to repay you. You may improve a system without receiving public credit. Keep contributing anyway. Value has a way of creating opportunities over time. People remember those who consistently make life better, even if appreciation is delayed. Think about the individuals you admire most. Chances are they leave every place better than they found it. They improve conversations, they strengthen teams, they solve problems calmly, they encourage people. They create progress instead of waiting for someone else to act. Their greatest strength is not simply what they know, but what they contribute. As you continue building your skill advantage, make this your personal standard. Leave every person, every project, and every place a little better because you were there. It may be through your ideas, your attitude, your work ethic, your kindness, or your willingness to solve problems. The method matters less than the mindset. The people who become truly irreplaceable are not those who constantly prove how talented they are. They are the people whose presence consistently improves the lives of others. They create value in conversations, in challenges, in opportunities, and in everyday moments that many people overlook. Master this skill, and you will never have to chase success endlessly. Success has a remarkable way of finding people who dedicate themselves to making everything around them more valuable than they found it. Chapter 12. Lead without waiting for permission. Leadership is often misunderstood. Many people believe it begins with a title, a promotion, or a position of authority. They assume they must wait until someone gives them permission to lead. But true leadership starts much earlier than that. It begins the moment you decide to take responsibility for your actions, your attitude, and the influence you have on the people around you. Long before anyone follows your instructions, they are already watching your example. Every person has influence. Whether you realize it or not, your behavior affects the people you interact with each day. A positive attitude can lift the energy of an entire team. Calmness during a difficult situation can reduce panic. Consistent integrity can inspire others to raise their own standards. Leadership is not about controlling people. It is about setting an example that encourages others to become better. One of the first qualities of a leader is initiative. While others wait for instructions, leaders look for ways to improve the situation. They ask, what needs to be done? Instead of, whose job is this? They understand that solving problems is more valuable than pointing them out. Initiative communicates responsibility, and responsibility naturally earns respect. Many people hesitate to take initiative because they fear making mistakes. They worry that stepping forward may expose them to criticism or failure. But waiting for perfect certainty often means waiting forever. Extraordinary leaders understand that thoughtful action is usually better than endless hesitation. They gather the information they need, make the best decision they can, and remain willing to adjust if necessary. Progress belongs to those who are willing to move forward while continuing to learn. Leadership also requires emotional stability. During challenging moments, people naturally look for someone who remains calm. Panic spreads quickly, but so does confidence. When you respond thoughtfully instead of emotionally, you help others think more clearly as well. This does not mean pretending that problems do not exist. It means facing them with composure rather than fear. Your attitude becomes a source of strength for everyone around you. Another essential quality is accountability. Leaders do not spend their energy searching for someone to blame. They ask themselves what they can do to improve the situation. Even when circumstances are outside their control, they focus on the part they can influence. This mindset creates momentum because responsibility always leads to action, while excuses only delay progress. Consider Rachel Nolan, a clinical pharmacist working in a busy regional hospital. During an unexpected staffing shortage, the hospital faced long hours, increasing pressure, and growing frustration among the medical team. Although Rachel held no formal leadership position, she noticed that uncertainty was beginning to affect both morale and patient care. Instead of waiting for someone else to organize the situation, she volunteered to coordinate communication between departments, helped create a more efficient medication review process, and made time to support newer staff members who felt overwhelmed. Her calm presence and willingness to serve brought stability during a difficult period. By the time hospital administrators recognized what had happened, Rachel had already become the person many people naturally turned to for guidance. She didn't become a leader because of a promotion. She earned influence because she chose responsibility before authority. That same opportunity exists in your own life. Leadership begins wherever you are. You can lead within your family by being dependable. You can lead at work by improving the quality of your effort. You can lead among friends by encouraging honesty and respect. You do not need a larger audience to become a better leader. You simply need to become intentional about the influence you already have. Another powerful leadership habit is helping others succeed. Insecure people often believe lifting others somehow diminishes their own importance. Confident leaders know the opposite is true. They willingly share knowledge, recognize the contributions of others, and celebrate progress wherever they see it. Their success is measured not only by what they accomplish, but also by how many people become stronger because of their influence. Leadership also requires humility. You will not have every answer. There will be times when someone else has greater experience or a better idea. Strong leaders welcome those moments because their goal is not to appear perfect. Their goal is to find the best solution. Humility allows you to continue learning while earning the trust of those around you. As you continue developing your skill advantage, stop waiting for the perfect opportunity to lead. That opportunity is already in front of you. Every decision you make, every promise you keep, every challenge you face, and every person you encourage is shaping your influence. Leadership is not a future destination, it is a daily choice. The people who leave the greatest mark on the world are rarely those who waited until they had authority. They are the people who accepted responsibility before anyone expected it, who chose courage instead of comfort, and who quietly improved the lives of others through their example. Develop this skill, and you will discover that the strongest leaders are not simply followed because of their position. They are followed because their character inspires trust. Their actions create confidence, and their example gives others permission to become their very best. Chapter 13. Make money work for you. Money is one of the most misunderstood subjects in life. Some people spend years chasing it without ever learning how it works. Others earn a good income but remain under constant financial pressure because they never develop the skills to manage it wisely. The truth is simple. Making money is important, but making money work for you is even more important. Financial intelligence is not reserved for accountants, investors, or business owners. It is a skill that anyone can develop, and it has the power to create freedom, confidence, and peace of mind. Many people believe financial success begins with earning more. While increasing your income can certainly help, income alone does not guarantee wealth. History is filled with people who earned impressive salaries yet struggled financially because they spent everything they made. Wealth is built through the gap between what you earn and what you keep. Financial intelligence teaches you how to protect that gap and allow it to grow over time. Think of money as a tool rather than a reward. A hammer is valuable because of what it allows you to build. Money works the same way. It can create opportunities, provide security, support your family, and help you contribute to causes you care about. But if it is used carelessly, it disappears just as quickly as it arrives. The goal is not simply to earn money. The goal is to give every dollar a purpose before it leaves your hands. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is spending intentionally. Before making a purchase, pause and ask yourself a simple question. Is this moving me closer to the life I want, or simply satisfying a temporary desire? This small pause changes the way you think about money. Instead of reacting emotionally, you begin making decisions based on long-term priorities. Over time, these thoughtful choices create financial stability that impulsive spending never can. Saving is another skill that often gets overlooked because its rewards are not immediate. Setting money aside each month may seem insignificant in the beginning, but consistency has remarkable power. A small amount saved regularly becomes far more valuable than large amounts saved occasionally. More importantly, savings provide something that cannot easily be measured: peace of mind. Knowing you are prepared for unexpected challenges reduces stress and gives you greater confidence when making important decisions. Financial intelligence also means understanding the difference between spending and investing. Spending gives you something today. Investing has the potential to give you something tomorrow. That investment may be in financial assets, a business, your education, or a valuable skill. Every time you invest wisely, you create opportunities for future growth. The most successful people do not see investing as giving money away. They see it as planting seeds that will continue producing value long after the initial effort has ended. Patience plays an essential role in financial success. Many people want immediate results. They chase quick profits, unrealistic promises, or opportunities that sound too good to be true. Extraordinary wealth is rarely built overnight. It grows through consistent decisions repeated over many years. Just as a tree needs time to mature, financial freedom develops gradually through discipline, patience, and wise choices. Another valuable habit is living below your means, even when your income increases. Lifestyle inflation quietly traps many people. Every raise is immediately followed by larger expenses, leaving little room for saving or investing. Financially intelligent people resist this pattern. Instead of allowing every increase in income to become an increase in spending, they direct part of that extra money toward building future security. This simple habit creates options that many people never experience. It is equally important to continue increasing your ability to earn. One of the safest investments you can ever make is investing in yourself. Every new skill you develop expands your potential to create value. The more valuable you become, the more opportunities you attract. In this way, personal growth and financial growth are deeply connected. Your income often reflects the value you consistently bring to other people's lives. Remember that financial intelligence is not about becoming obsessed with money. It is about gaining the freedom to make choices based on purpose instead of pressure. Money should serve your values, not replace them. Use it to support your family, improve your future, help others, and create a life filled with meaningful experiences rather than endless possessions. As you continue building your skill advantage, treat money with respect. Learn how it works, make thoughtful decisions, save consistently, invest patiently, continue increasing your value so your earning potential grows alongside your wisdom. These habits may seem simple, but over time, they create remarkable results. The wealthiest person is not always the one who earns the most. It is often the one who manages money with the greatest wisdom. Master this skill, and money will gradually stop becoming a source of constant stress and start becoming a tool that works alongside you, helping you build the life you truly want instead of merely paying for the life you already have. Chapter 14. Never stop increasing your value. Reaching a goal is satisfying, but remaining valuable for the rest of your life requires something greater than achievement. It requires continuous growth. The people who stay relevant, respected, and successful over decades are not those who rely on what they learned years ago. They are the people who keep expanding their knowledge, refining their skills, and strengthening their character long after others become comfortable. They understand one important truth. Your greatest competition is not change itself, it is the temptation to stop growing. One of the biggest dangers of success is believing you have finally arrived. The moment you begin thinking you know enough, your progress quietly begins to slow. The world continues evolving. New ideas emerge, better methods replace old ones. Opportunities shift in unexpected directions. If your growth stops while the world continues moving, yesterday's strengths gradually become tomorrow's limitations. Lifelong learners avoid this trap because they treat every stage of life as another opportunity to improve. Increasing your value begins with accepting that learning never truly ends. Formal education may have a graduation day, but personal education should not. Every book you read, every meaningful conversation you have, every challenge you overcome, and every mistake you analyze becomes another lesson that shapes the person you are becoming. The question is not whether life is teaching you. The question is whether you are paying attention. Think about your skills as tools in a toolbox. A carpenter with only one tool can complete only a limited number of jobs. A carpenter with many well-maintained tools can solve a wide variety of problems. The same principle applies to your life. Every new skill you develop increases the number of challenges you can solve. Every challenge you solve increases the value you bring to other people. Over time, your growing collection of skills becomes one of your greatest competitive advantages. This is why skill stacking is so powerful. One useful skill creates opportunities. Several complementary skills working together create exceptional value. Imagine someone who communicates clearly, thinks critically, manages money wisely, solves problems creatively, leads confidently, and learns continuously. None of these abilities exists in isolation. Together they multiply one another. The result is a person who is prepared for opportunities that many others are not equipped to handle. Growth also requires regular self-evaluation. It is easy to become busy and assume that activity automatically means progress. But movement and improvement are not the same thing. Set aside time to honestly evaluate yourself. Ask questions like, what skill improved this year? What habit became stronger? Where have I become too comfortable? What should I learn next? Honest reflection keeps you moving forward because it reveals where your next opportunity for growth truly lies. Another important habit is seeking feedback from people you respect. We all have blind spots. There are strengths we underestimate and weaknesses we fail to notice. Constructive feedback helps reveal both. Instead of becoming defensive, treat thoughtful criticism as valuable information. Every suggestion is another opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and more effective. The people who grow the fastest are often those who remain the most teachable. It is equally important to invest in your character as much as your abilities. Skills may create opportunities, but character determines whether you keep them. Continue strengthening your integrity, your patience, your humility, and your reliability. These qualities never become outdated. In every generation, people trust those who consistently demonstrate strong character. As your skills increase, let your character grow even faster. Remember that increasing your value is not only about your career. Become a better listener in your relationships. Become more patient with your family. Become more generous with your knowledge. Become more thoughtful in your decisions. Real success is measured not only by professional accomplishments, but also by the positive influence you have on the people closest to you. A truly valuable life improves the lives of others wherever it goes. Don't become discouraged if growth sometimes feels slow. Personal development is much like planting a forest. The first signs of progress are often hidden beneath the surface. Roots develop long before branches become visible. The habits you build today, the books you read this month, the conversations that challenge your thinking, and the small improvements you make each day are all quietly preparing you for opportunities you cannot yet see. Trust that process. Consistency always produces results that impatience cannot. As this audiobook nears its conclusion, remember that the 14 skills you have explored are not separate lessons to be remembered individually. They are connected parts of one complete philosophy. Self-discipline gives you the strength to begin. Learning allows you to grow. Clear thinking improves your decisions. Problem-solving increases your value. Communication builds trust. Focus strengthens execution. Adaptability prepares you for change. Negotiation creates better opportunities. Leadership expands your influence. Financial intelligence protects your future. Together, these skills shape the kind of person opportunities naturally seek. Never allow yourself to believe that your best years are behind you. As long as you remain curious, teachable, and committed to improving, your value can continue increasing for the rest of your life. The world will always reward people who solve problems, serve others, and never stop growing. Make that your lifelong commitment. Continue learning, continue refining, continue contributing, because the greatest investment you will ever make is not in a market, a business, or a career. It is in the person you choose to become every single day. Conclusion. Every skill you develop becomes a permanent part of who you are. It changes the way you think, the way you make decisions, the way you solve problems, and the way you respond to life's challenges. Unlike material possessions, skills cannot be stolen from you. They travel wherever you go. They continue creating opportunities long after circumstances change. That is why the greatest investment you will ever make is not in something you own, it is in the person you become. Throughout this audiobook, you have explored 14 high-value skills that work together as a complete system for personal and professional growth. You began by building self-discipline because every lasting achievement starts with the ability to keep promises to yourself. You learned how to become a faster learner so that change becomes an opportunity instead of a threat. You discovered the importance of thinking clearly under pressure, solving problems before they grow, communicating with confidence, protecting your attention, and finishing what others abandon. You also explored the skills that multiply your influence. You learned to adapt before circumstances force you to. You discovered how respectful negotiation creates better outcomes, why trust must be earned long before it is needed, and how creating value wherever you go naturally attracts opportunities. Finally, you strengthened the long-term skills that shape an extraordinary life, leading through example, making money work for you, and committing yourself to continuous growth for the rest of your life. Notice something important about these skills. None of them depends on your age, your background, your profession, or where you were born. They are available to anyone willing to practice them consistently. They do not require perfect conditions. They require daily commitment. This is encouraging because it means your future is not determined by luck. It is determined by the choices you make, the habits you build, and the skills you continue developing. One of the greatest mistakes people make is waiting for life to change before they change themselves. They believe confidence will arrive after success. They think discipline will become easier once they feel motivated. They hope opportunities will appear before they invest in becoming more capable. Life rarely works that way. Growth comes first. Results follow. When you become more valuable, the world begins responding to that value. Remember that no single chapter in this audiobook is designed to transform your life overnight. Real transformation happens when these ideas become daily habits. Reading about communication will not make you a better communicator unless you practice listening with intention. Learning about financial intelligence will not create wealth unless you begin managing your money wisely. Understanding the importance of focus means very little unless you start protecting your attention every day. Knowledge creates possibility. Action creates change. As you move forward, resist the temptation to master everything at once. Growth is far more sustainable when you focus on one improvement at a time. Choose one skill that challenged you the most. Practice it deliberately until it becomes natural. Then move to the next. Over time, these individual improvements begin reinforcing one another. Your discipline strengthens your focus. Your focus improves your learning. Your learning improves your decisions. Better decisions increase your value. Greater value creates greater opportunities. This is how lasting success is built, not through dramatic breakthroughs, but through consistent progress. It is also worth remembering that your skills are not meant to benefit only you. The true purpose of becoming more capable is to become more useful. Use your communication to encourage people. Use your leadership to lift others. Use your financial wisdom to create security for your family and generosity toward those in need. Use your problem-solving ability to make life better wherever you go. Success becomes far more meaningful when it creates value beyond yourself. There will be days when your progress feels invisible. You may wonder whether your efforts are making any difference. During those moments, remember that the strongest foundations are built before the tallest buildings appear. Every book you read, Every habit you strengthen, every disciplined decision you make, and every skill you practice is quietly preparing you for opportunities you cannot yet see. Trust the process. The results will come. As this audiobook comes to an end, let one belief guide you from this point forward. Your value is never fixed. You can become wiser than you are today, more disciplined than you are today, more confident, more capable, more resilient, and more valuable than you are today. That possibility never disappears as long as you remain willing to learn. So don't simply admire these ideas, live them, develop your discipline, protect your attention, solve meaningful problems, communicate with purpose, earn trust through your actions, keep learning, keep growing, keep creating value. One day, people may look at your success and assume you were naturally gifted or unusually fortunate. Only you will know the truth. You will know that your future changed the moment you decided to invest in the one asset that appreciates for a lifetime: your skills. Live by the skill advantage, and you will never have to spend your life chasing opportunity. Instead, you will become the kind of person opportunity naturally seeks.